Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to learn about the seventh module. The seventh module explain about forms. We will see different types of forms by using input controllers. See, in these forms, we are going to discuss about these topics. Okay, so those are using simple form, working with the select and options, input controls, input validations, then using CSS classes, forms using CSS classes, and Angularjs tables, form events, custom model update triggers. These topics available in the forms, that is 7th module. So in this today's session we can see 7th module about forms and some validations. Okay. Actually, you have already learnt about these forms in web technologies, HTML forms. So those we can see with AngularJS. Okay, AngularJS forms. AngularJS facilitates to create form enriches with the data binding and validation of input controls. Input controls are ways for a user to enter data. A form is a collection of controls for the purpose of grouping related controls together. And here we can see the input controllers which are we are using in AngularJS forms. Okay, so in input elements like checkbox, radio buttons, etc. Then select elements, button elements, Textarea elements, all are input controllers. Coming to events which are supported by AngularJS are ng-click event and ng-double-click, ng-mousedown, ng-mouseup, ng-mouseenter, ng-mouseleave, ng-mousemove, ng-mouseover, ng-keydown, ng-keyup, ng-keypress, ng-change. These are some events supported by AngularJS. As we know, we have executed programs also. So the first example we can see data binding with form. How we can do data binding with form means, so we should use ng-modal attribute. Okay, so ng-modal directive is used to provide data binding. So here question is what, how you can provide data binding? By using ng-modal directive. Okay, that we can see in this example. So here you can observe, so HTML script that we are loading AngularJS file, external AngularJS file. Next we have taken one div tag. Okay, so we are representing ng-app and app name we have given. That means we are initializing Angular framework here. So this is the root node for AngularJS. And next we are making it as a controller so that we can access the values. So ng-controller. So the controller name is form control ctrl, form ctrl. Next, so here we are making form. So for making form, what tag we need to use? Form, for form. So here see within the form what you can write, form open and form closed. Here in the form what you have written, first name. So input type is text and model name we have given first name. So that I'm trying to display on the browser. Within the paragraph tag we are providing color for that text is red color. Okay, form closed and then div tag closed, and actual script AngularJS script we have started here, where app equal to angular.module of module name comma dependency means rectangle box. So then app.control of controller name, my controller, which we have given here, then followed by a function that contains $scope is the object, built-in object, so that we can initialize the variable here $scope the first name equal to 0. Okay, so output will be Shiv Kumar, that we can see on the browser web page. See, I have created here first example, right? So simple form, right click, open with Google Chrome. Now you can see the output. So text box which I have entered. So initially we have initialized Yukumar, right? That I can display here. So whatever we enter, that will display here. Okay. So ng model used for what? Providing data binding. Okay. So next we can see Angularjs Checkbox. How you can create checkbox? Input type equal to checkbox. That we can write within the form tag. Okay. See, the checkbox has a value true or false. Okay. If it is checked means that returns true. If it is unchecked means that returns false. ng model directive used for a checkbox. ng model directive attribute we can use for checkbox also. So with this example you can see the input type checkbox. So initially we have initialized var x equal to true, variable true. So ng-init, by using ng-init we can initialize the value, right? Where means this is the variable name, give directly true. Next ng-model. So variable name means model name is var x here. Then csc it, same way. So we have created two checkboxes here, one checkbox csc and the checkbox it. So here the model name var x and here model name var y. And after completion of this form we are writing h1 tag. So ng-show attribute we are using. This is also Angular attribute. So it will show, if it returns checkbox checked means it will returns true, then CSC selected. If the checkbox here it is not selected default, right? So it will hide this IT selected. So if you are checked this checkbox also, it will show this output. Okay. So then we can find CSC selected and IT selected. That we can see. Second example. So checkbox form example, right click, open with Google Chrome. So here we can observe CSC default checked. That means it is returns true. Then we can see the CSC selected. If you are clicking on IT, so checkbox checked and IT is selected. In this way we can use ng-show here by using checkbox. Checkbox we can get the values here. Okay. That is about checkbox, Angularjs checkbox. Okay. Next, Angularjs radio button, input control radio button here. So ng model directive is used to bind radio buttons also. In radio buttons also, what we are using for providing data binding, we are using ng model only. So here for radio buttons, how you can create? Input type of radio, that's it, right? So we have taken form tag. Okay, closed form tag here. We have taken three radio buttons. First radio button for CSC, second radio button ECE, third radio button EE. Okay, so model name here you can observe ng-model name is same for radio button. Okay, now first we are having switch condition here. So if ng switch, based on this value we can select the cases. So ng switch when CSC, then it will display this value. Okay, so this variable is ECE. If you are clicking on radio button, so if the value is ECE, then so based on the ng switch when ECE, then it will display this message. Okay, so same here also, ng switch when EE, the value is EE, then it will display this message. Okay, so that is about radio button. We can see the output also. Third example, radio button form. Open Google Chrome. See, pick the topic here. If you are selecting CSC, it will display welcome to CSC department courses. So if you are selecting this one, welcome to ECE department courses. If you are selecting this one, welcome to EE department courses. Okay. So in this way we can write radio buttons. Okay, right. Next, AngularJS selection control means select tag and option tag. We can remember. Here also we can use ng-model for providing binding. Okay, so we are creating form. So within this form, what we are taken select tag and option tag. See here option tag, and here the ng-model we are representing in the select tag. ng-model model name is myvar, and option value CSC, ECE, and triple. Okay, so next here also we are using ng-switch. So value is myvar. See here the ng-model value is myvar. Okay, so the value if it is CSC, then it will go for CSC ng-switch. When CSC, then it will display this message. Same like above. Okay, so but ng-model we have given for each and uh, every tag. So there we have given same myvar. Okay, right. You can see the output here by using drop down list. Drop down list is the fourth example, right? Drop down list. Fourth example. Drop down lists. Form example 4. Okay, open Chrome. So if you are selecting computer science means CSE, then it will display welcome to CSE department. Same electronics, welcome to EEE department. Okay, right. That's all about drop down list by using select and option tags. Next, AngularJS form input validation. We can see input validation here. So how we can provide input validation. So AngularJS provides a client-side form validation. It checks the state of the form and input fields like input text area, select, unless you notify the user about the current state. By using this, we can know about current state. Why we are using this one? So what we can provide by using AngularJS, we can provide client-side form validation. So what it is doing, it checks the state of the form. While you are using input type equal to text box or text area select, will check the state, means it will notify the user about current state. Okay, it also holds the information about whether the input fields have been touched or modified or not. So what information it is saying? So by using input validation, so it will say about that the element is touched or modified or not. Okay, that states will return. Next, so how we can do this validation? The following directives are generally used to track errors or status in Angular form. So how you can find? By using $dirty, $invalid, $error, next $valid. So what about $dirty? What is doing? So which state is saying? The states that the value has been changed. It states that what? Value has been changed. $invalid represents what? States that value entered is invalid. So $error states that what? The $error states that exact error. Okay, $valid represents what? $valid represents the field content is valid. Okay, that is about $dirty, $invalid, $error. If $dirty has been changed, then it will returns true. $invalid is entered invalid data, then it returns true. $error, then state exact error having error required. So $valid represents true if you are entering valid data into the input field. Okay, that example we can see here. To check text field have entered or not, we are checking here text field entered or not. Okay, we are taking the form, and within the form what we are having, one text box, we are giving for name for the form, that is F1, and input for input field also we have given ng-model T1. So by using these two things we can provide this, we can get the state of that input field. How? Form name dot, then input name dot, next to the states $valid, $invalid, $dirty, $error. So in this example we can see the default states of these properties. Okay, this is the example we can see here. Next example, fifth example, right? Fifth example. Where is fifth example? Example 5. See, text field entered or not, validation. Example, open with Chrome. See, we can see the default states of this $valid, $invalid. What are those elements? $valid, $invalid, $dirty, and $error. See, $error. See, if it is valid data or not. So we are not entering any data. So that $invalid gives false. Then dollar valid gives the false. If you are entering we are not entering any data, means it returns invalid. Invalid means it returns what? True. Invalid true only, right? Then $dirty, the field has changed or not changed, then it returns false. Next $error, which represents it is now in error condition, right? So it display required true. Okay, so how we can change? Enter username, then valid true, invalid, it is invalid, no, right? We have entered some data, so false. Then $dirty, it has changed, form state has changed, right? Then it will return true value. Then error, so no error, right? So then it returns empty. So those are the some default values of this $valid, $invalid, $dirty, and $error. Next example, to check email entered correct or not. Email entered correct or not, we can see here. First see the example. So here we are checking email entered correct or not. So for that we have taken one form name my form. Then we have given name for the input field my input, ng-model also my input. Then we are checking the state here, my form dot my input dot $valid, $valid or not. So if it is valid, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Initially the value will be true only. Okay, that we can see here. Sixth example. Example 6. Email entered correct or not. Open with Google Chrome. See, to check the email entered correct or not. So initially the state will be true. So but if you are trying to enter something, so it is not a valid email ID. So that's why it is returning false. If you are giving valid email ID, then it will return false. That means it will check whether the character available after the character we have @ symbol or not. After the @ symbol any character will be there. So it will check. Okay. So it is in the format, then it will return true. Okay. Right. So that is about email validation, email entered correct or not. So next thing we are going to discuss about input fields have following states. So input fields states like $untouched means it represents the field has not been touched yet. Okay. Then $touched, it represents the field has been touched. $pristine, that represents the field has not been modified yet. $dirty, the field has been modified. $invalid, the field content is not valid. $dirty, the field content is valid, then it returns true. So there are all properties of the input fields and or either true or false. So form having following state, form also having following state, dollar $prestige, dollar $dirty, dollar $invalid, dollar $valid, or dollar $submit. So dollar $prestige represents no fields have been modified at. Dollar $dirty represents one or more have been modified. Dollar $invalid represents the form content is not valid. Dollar $valid that represents the form content is valid. Dollar $submitted represents the form is submitted. They are all properties of the form and are either true or false. We can see the examples, then you can understand easily. To validate the text field, this is the example. So we have taken one form name is my form, and we have taken input fields like text box. So name equal to my name and ng model also my name. So here within the span tag we are displaying the error message. So ng-show, by using ng-show attribute. So my form dot my name dot means form name dot field name dot $touched, the form has been touched or not. Then under my form dot my name dot $invalid, the field the form field has valid or invalid, it will check. Okay, so if it is invalid, the name is required, that message we can display. Next, within the form we have another field address, the input type text box only here, and the name we have given my address, and ng model name also we have given my address. So next we have taken one form span tag. Within the span tag we are using ng-show directive attribute, so that we are accessing form field my form dot and my address dot $touched, and the same and condition, so both should be true. My form dot my address dot $invalid, then what we can display, the address is required. These messages we should display. So this example we can see here, to validate text field is 7th example. Validate text field 7th example, open with Google Chrome. To validate text field, see, if you are not entering anything, it will display the name is required, the address is required. Okay, it is touched and it is valid or not, that we can display here. The name is required, the address is required. Okay, it's more, it's disappear. So that's it about ng-show attribute. Okay, so if it is valid, then we can show the if you are entering invalid data, then we can display that error message. So name is required. Okay, right. So in this way we can validate the text fields by using this Angularjs. Next, $touched and $invalid. So next form, we can see here some rules. So below the steps through which you need to follow carry out Angular validation, I have explained. This is in the module 8. So form validation, that I have already explained, you can see in the previous video. So student form, student name, first name, last name, and email ID. Next, custom validation, this is also in the module 8, and I have explained this also. There you can find in the 8th module video. Okay, next thing, here we are using CSS classes. Okay, so in the form we are using CSS classes. AngularJS adds CSS class to forms and input fields depending on their states. Okay, the following classes are added to or removed from input fields. So how we can do that means by using ng-untouched, ng-touched, ng-pristine, ng-dirty, ng-valid, ng-invalid, ng-valid-key. Okay, ng-valid-required. So ng-invalid-key. So these we can use as a classes to remove from the form on input fields. See, by using ng untouched, the field has not been touched yet. That represents what? The field has not been touched yet. ng touched represents what? The field has been touched. ng hyphen pristine represents what? The field has not been modified yet. ng-dirty represents what? The field has been modified. ng-valid represents what? The field content is valid. ng-invalid represents what? The field content is not valid. ng-valid-key represents what? So one key for each validation. Example, ng-valid-required. So here useful when there are more than one thing that must be validated. So next is ng-invalid-key. That example we can use like ng-invalid required. Okay, next thing here we can see the following classes are added to or removed from forms. Okay, so those are ng hyphen president, ng-dirty, ng-valid, ng-invalid, ng-valid-key. So ng-valid-key. So ng-president represents what? No field has not been modified yet. ng-dirty represents what? One or more field has been modified. ng-valid represents what? The form content is valid. ng-invalid represents what? The form content is not valid. ng-valid-key represents what? One key for each validation. Example is ng-valid-required. Useful when there are more than one thing that must be validated. ng-invalid-key example is what? ng-invalid-required. We can use these classes are removed if the value they represent is false. Okay, so we can use true or false here. So example, we can see background color of input control change. Background color we can change here. See same thing, we have loaded Angularjs file. We are writing style here, CSS, right? Within the style tag we can write. So what attributes we can use, what properties we can use? ng-invalid, ng-valid. So for input field, so you are applying this one. Okay, so ng-invalid, if the input is invalid, what will be the background color of the text? The background color red. Okay, so input is valid. If the input value is valid, then background color we are applying green. So that here we are using input to dot ng-valid, input to dot ng-invalid. Okay, valid, invalid. Valid means the text color will be green. If it is invalid, the text color will be red. Okay, so that we can see here. So we have taken form, and within the form we have taken input field. Those are the input type text box only. The name, my name, and model name also my name is required. Okay, so here we can see that example. Tenth example, background color input control example. Open with Google Chrome. If we are entering valid data, means we are entering text type of data, so that we can see the background color will be green. So no valid data, then it will be red color. In that way we can use ng-valid, ng-invalid. Okay, next here the next thing is the background color of form change. We are changing background color of form. See, we are applying for form. See, then form dot ng-pristine. Form have ng-dirty. Okay, so if form dot ng-pristine means then background color light blue, then ng-dirty means background color will be pink. So here we have taken form name is my form, and here the input field name is my name, and model name also my name. So use details are maintained for future reference, that is not required here. So here we can see that example outputs also we are providing for form. 11th background color for form, open with Google Chrome. see the form. Okay, enter username, valid username, then it will change. Okay, so in this way we can provide background color for form also by using this validation form dot ng-president form has ng-hyphen ng-hyphen dirty means modify the form data, paste in the data. Okay, right, next example, Angularjs table. So here the ng repeat directive is used to draw the table in Angularjs. Okay, so ng repeat directive we are using to draw the table. So see here we have loaded Angularjs file, we are applying style, so we are creating header, table data. For this what we are providing CSS border 1 pixel solid pink, then padding is 5 pixel. Next, so for representing odd rows and even rows background color, we are writing in this way, table, but table row colon nth child is odd, then apply background color this one. Okay, then table row colon nth child is even rows, then we can apply background color, this background color. Okay, then so we have taken one div tag. So ng-app is main app and ng-controller is student controller. We are creating table in HTML, border is 2, then we are taking one table row, table header we are creating here, name marks. Okay, then we should retrieve the data from the controller, right? So for that what we are taking all the data available in the student variable, right? So that we are instanting here x, that means the values are available in x, then we are iterating by using ng repeat attribute, so x dot name, x dot marks, so that we can iterate and we can display on the browser. How we can get the data? We are creating module and we are creating controller name student controller, and here by using scope the student object we have initialized the name and marks of student. So these values we have initialized, those values we can get here through by using ng-iterate, we can iterate the all values. Okay, so we can see this example also. 12th example, right click, open with Google Chrome. See, to sort table, add an order by filter, order by name and marks. Where we have used this one? We did not use any filters. Maybe this was Angularjs table example we should open. Table example. CPP 80. X in student. JS table example. Open with notepad, then we can see the coding here. So this is the exact example. Okay, now we should run this JS table example. Open with Chrome. See, we have provided border names marks we have retrieved from the controller. Okay, this is the example. We have provided color for even rows and odd rows. Okay, so next example, Same example, we are using filter here. To sort the table, add order by filter, order by name or order by marks. Okay, same thing what you have seen in the above example, same we have created here. Table and the child odd means we are providing some color, and child even means if for even rows we are providing some color, and we have given app name is my app and controller name student controller. So what we are iterating here, what we are creating in the table names and marks are the head, and we are iterating student data which we are providing from the controller. See, in the controller we have initialized name and value, marks. Next here, while you are iterating, what we are providing, we are providing default filter here. So order by, we should get the data. So order by name or marks or whatever you can give that name. So if it is name, so based on name we can see the output. If it is marks, based on marks, okay, in the alphabetical way we can get the marks. Okay, lower to higher. So we can change the output based on this. Okay, order by filter we can use here, so that we can display the data in order wise. So by using name you can filter, by using marks we can filter it. That example we have already opened in the Chrome. See, the sort table, add order by filter, order by name or marks. So order by name, okay, CPPML, alphabetical order. Okay, you got it right. So you can use filter also here. Next example, we can see AngularJS form events. AngularJS form events. You can add AngularJS event listeners to your HTML elements by using one or more of these directives like ng-blur, ng-change, ng-click, ng-copy, ng-cut, ng-double-click, ng-focus, ng-keydown, ng-keypress, ng-keyup, ng-mousedown, ng-mouseenter, ng-mouseleave, ng-mousemove, ng-mouseover, ng-mouseup, ng-paste. So that the event directives allow us to run AngularJS function at a certain user events. For example, you can see we have created one example. We have taken one div tag. So here we are initializing Angular framework by using ng-app directive attribute, and the app name is my app, and we have created controller ng-controller, control name my ctr. Then here we are taking one h1 tag, within that we are using ng-mousemove. If the mouse you are moving from one place to one place, then the count will be incremented, okay, one by one. So mouse over me, if you are clicking on this and overing the mouse, then the count will be incremented. That we can display here. How we can do that? So in the controller we have initialized count equal to 0. First, for that we need to create a module and a control, as you know all the syntax. Okay, that example we can see here. 11th, 12th, next 13th example, mouse move event. Open with Google Chrome. Mouse over, mouse move. So then we are incrementing here. See, mouse. If you are moving mouse, then count will be incremented. That example we can see here. Next example, mouse click executes a function. Mouse click event. In this example we can see ng-click. So we are creating one function, click. If you are clicking on click me, then it will call my function. For that we have written logic here. So my function, the count plus plus, initially the count will be 0. We have initialized. That example we can see. Next example is 14, mouse click event, right click, open with Google Chrome browser. Click here, count will be incremented. ng-click event. Okay, So next toggle button or true or false, it written true or false. So if you want to show a section of HTML code when the button is clicked and hide when the button is clicked again, like a drop down menu will make the button behave like a toggle switch. Okay, see this example so that you can understand toggle button. So here same, we have loaded AngularJS, root node of AngularJS, ng-app, app name is my app, and the controller name we have given my control. Then we are creating button, click to see the branches. Okay, so we are what event we are using, ng-click event. So it will call the my function that we have written inside the controller. So div tag, within the div tag we are using ng-show attribute. So flag means if it returns true means that will show the data, otherwise it will not show this data, courses data. Okay, next how we can get that true or false means we have written logic here, toggle my controller same, then flag equal to false, then what is the function name, my function. Okay, while you are writing ng-click, see here ng-click function name is what, my function. If you are clicking on that, so we are storing $scope.flag. Okay, $scope.flag, that we are storing, returning the data into the flag. Okay, then click the button to show hide the menu. That example we can see here. 15th example, toggle button example, open with Google Chrome. Click to see the branches, click the button to show hide menu, clicking, showing all the data, again clicking, it is hiding and show. Okay, so that is about the toggle, you can remember is the thing. Okay, next next topic is dollar event object. What about this dollar event object? We can pass the dollar event object as an argument when calling the function. The dollar event object contains the browser event object, so use it to present x and y coordinates of HTML elements, x axis, y axis. So dollar event we can use. Okay, here we can observe the example, same thing, loading root node, initializing Angular framework, giving a name for the controller. Then here in the h1 tag we are using ng-mousemove. While you are moving the mouse, what should happen? If you are moving the mouse here, then it will call my function. How we are using dollar event in that function. Okay, dollar event, by using dollar event what we can do, dollar event object contains the browser event object, so that it is used to present x axis, x and y coordinates of the HTML element. Here dollar object event object as an argument, while you are calling the function we can pass. See that we are passing here as dollar event, we are passing in the function, so that you can find x and y coordinates here. We are displaying x and y, where you are initialize that values in the controller. We are created module and controller, then here we have created function, right? And we are clicking on this event mouse over, so then it will call this function and object dot client of x, object dot client of y, then that values we can see here. What will be the output? 16th example, dollar event object example, open with Google Chrome. So mouse move, see the x coordinator, y coordinator, where is the cursor, x coordinator, y coordinator, we can print that values here, x coordinator and y coordinator. See decreased, increased, x coordinate, y coordinate we can find. Okay, if you are moving mouse on this text. So that is the example. Next example, ng form directive. Form directive, form directive, see here, ng form directive in AngularJS used to create the nested form, that is one form inside the another form. It specifies an inherit control form HTML form. It creates control group inside a form directive which can be used to determine the validity of a subgroup of the controls. Okay, that example we can see example by using ng-form. Okay, ng-form we are using. See, same as we have loaded, and ng-app we did not initialize any name, so that we are not using any module name here. So ng-form we are using within the tag ng-form. Okay, so within that form we are writing ng-hide equal to flag, means returning true or false. Okay, ng-hide means true means it will hide, false means it will show the data on the browser. So full name and text box we have taken. So model name, ng model name, f name, and ng model name here you can see uname means username. So this is one form. Then here you can see we have a button, so ng-click. So initially it is true, flag is true while you are clicking on this button, so initially true, then the data will be displayed. So how we can display ng-show flag? So first name and last name we can see as a output. Okay, that we can see here. ng-form, 17th example, open with Google Chrome, validate text field example, not 17 ng-form example. Right click, open with Google Chrome, ng-form example. See full name and enter something, then click here. Full name SS, username DD. So it will return true means it will show the output. Next example, custom model update triggers. Trigger concept you know already in the DBMS. So if you are doing something internally, it will execute another thing. Okay, it will perform action. So by default, change in the content of input element triggers the model update and validates the form. However, we can override this behavior by attaching ng-model option directive with the event name to the input element. So the values of ng-model option can be following. So ng-model options on update on blur, update on mouse up, update on default mouse down. See, when we can use update on blur, what will happen? So updates the model when this element lose focus. So update on mouse up, it represents what? That represents updates the model when this element is clicked and mouse button is released. Okay, so update on default means update the model with the default behavior as and when the key is pressed. Okay, it will update. So update on default mouse down, update the model with the default behavior, and when the key is pressed or mouse down even fires on the element. Next, delay model updates model after user action. This is done using ng-model-options directive with the debounce milliseconds option. Debounce millisecond options. First, we will see first example, ng-model options update on. See where you are using. Remaining syntax all are same. See, we have taken PD. Okay, PD list, PD array. Then with that, what we need to update every time? So we have taken ng-app and ng-controller name is ng-controller, the controller name custom trigger controller. We have taken form, form name is my form, and we have taken one username. Then ng model username, we are giving pd dot username. Okay, then we are writing trigger here ng-model-option. So update on blur, when it should be update on blur. Okay, the update on blur, when update on blur means then we can update it, means the trigger will be up. Okay, then address field pd dot address, the ng-model-update ng-model-options equal to update on default blur. In default blur it will be update. So while it trigger, then it will display username, pd username under pd password what we have updated. Okay, that we can see in this example 18. ng-model option update on, open with Google Chrome, update on. See, I'm writing here, and after coming into the address field it is showing here. Then this one, update on blur. Okay, see, have you observed this thing? Username, while you are writing it will not come. So while you are blurred to another, see what we have written code here, update on blur, then update on blur, it is moving, then it will update it here. Default, next is what, default blur, then here if you are writing it will come automatically default. So okay, next pd data will be updated in this way by using update ng-model options. Option is what, update on. Next option is debounce. When it's debounce, the data will be updated. Same thing, same example we have written. So pd we have taken as empty array. Then here you can see ng-model options update on blur mouseover debounce. When it will debounce, 4000. Okay, so here next pd address will be update when ng-model options update on default blur, and debounce, when it will debounce, default to 250 and blur 5000. Okay, then we can see this output. Based on this we can see the output. 19th example, debounce, trigger debounce, see the output. See here, something error in the code, we'll check in the later. Okay, so that's all about today's session. You can modify the code, open with any error you can find. Already this video has been long, too much of length, so I will modify this one and I will update you, otherwise you can try. Okay, so that's all about the 7th module. All examples we have covered here. So forms, select option, controller, input validation, CSS, Angularjs tables, form events, and custom model update triggers we have completed. Okay, that means 7th module have completed. Okay, you can practice these examples, then you can understand easily. Okay, thank you all. Thank you.